What up, though? What up, though? What's going on? What's happening, my good people? Let me get my audio together. Can kind of clean up my area here. So, getting started a little bit late. I try to start, between 10, 10:30 every day. When not every day, but every time I do these lives. So, a little bit behind today. Trying to get you guys a good story. Uh-oh, one of my microphones are dying, so I'm gonna swap out my microphone. Hope you all can hear me. But in the interim, I'll swap out this mic. And then we're gonna chat a little bit today about the ICE raids, the immigration raids. What's up with that? How do y'all feel about that? I talked about it a little bit the other day, and we're coming into a draconian society where there's a dictatorship and the people work at the behest of our president, and we are violating law. We're actually, the new administration is rewriting laws altogether. Like, the laws that they're making are crazy. They're ignoring laws. We blurred the lines between government. We blurred the lines between government and the branches of government. So there's no more. It's pretty much no. It's just government, right? Um, there's legislative branch, there's executive branch, and there is the judicial branch. And the judicial branch acts at the direction of President Trump, even though it's supposed to be independent, and they do whatever they tell him to do. And he six them on whoever he wants. Even having the FBI to go out to Texas to because the Democrats don't want to do the redistricting thing, and they're trying to redistrict in the middle of a midterms, right? So just kind of rewriting the law, so it's really just a republic. We don't even have a democracy anymore. It's just a republic. And I mean, it's just like it's a really weird time, but it's interesting to be living in this time to see what the outcome is going to be. So I'll thank all of you all for jumping on here today. And we're going to talk about a few things. Last week we talked about martial law, and we talked about President Donald Trump's takeover of the Washington, D.C. Police Department, where I served for nearly 20 years and retired as a police captain in 2007 at the age of 35, and running a 450-man police precinct, or district as we called it. And during that time, I handled protests, riots, inaugurations, parades, cherry blossom parades, the Million Man March, the 9/11 attacks at the Pentagon. There are a lot of things that I've done in that city as a police officer. I was gone by the time we had the what they call it insurrection on Capitol Hill during President Donald Trump's first term as president. I had retired from there, but that day, January 6th, I got called from my security company the next day. And if you go to my website, you'll see the picture. I got called. My security company got hired to do the security for the inauguration, from everything from the Capitol, the front of the Capitol, all the way back to the monument, the Washington Monument. And so we had everything from the Capitol steps all the way down to the Washington Monument. We were out there for like 21 days or something like that. It was quite a few days because we had to be out there for setup, working with the National Guard, and taking care of the perimeter and the grounds and stuff like that. So that was just interesting. What's going on, the best group? How you doing? How you doing, everybody that joined on? So today, so getting started a little bit slow. So as I start to do more of these lives, I'm going to settle down on the time. I'm trying to figure out what's the best time to do these lives. I said whoever best group 23. I said I don't even know who you are, but how you doing? And thank you for being on, man. I'm not ignoring you. Tell me who you are so I can acknowledge you correctly. So um so I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to get on a schedule, right? You see this gray in my hair? Look, I'm trying to retire. I'm not trying to do the executive protection, bodyguard stuff, following people as much. Still teach the school, still be a business consultant, still run my company and not go on details, but send other people. So I'm kind of winding down. So I'm in pop status. I got a couple of grandkids. I got a brand new grandkid who's a year old who I'm trying to spend time with. But pop likes to go to sleep at around 9 o'clock, so I can get up early and start this stuff and all of this content and stuff that you see on my YouTube channel. So I can get at that early in the morning and have something for you to see, something new, something for you to learn from every day. So just trying to find the right balance between running the company, being a pop, and also creating content and being on here live at night to report to you guys. So y'all tell me, what time do you prefer? What time? I don't know what time you guys go to bed. I know the algorithm says that I need to post at 7 p.m. It also says that what's up, big boy? How you doing? Jaquil Moore, one of my students on here. I love you too, man. He said he loves my content, but I love him. I love him. I love him too. Great guy, one of my students, a pretty much an expert martial artist. He teaches. He's for this past year he's been teaching all of my close quarter combat stuff for my executive protection classes. So if you guys don't know what executive protection is, that's just bodyguard. That's a professional word for bodyguard. So he teaches all the close quarter combat, weapons disarmament, all of those kind of things. What's up, JP? What's going on, man? Thank you for jumping on. I got another student, excellent student, Justin Phillips, who's an executive protection professional as well. And he's already working in the field. Yep. And Jaquel said everybody signed up. Justin is already working in the field. He works with a city politician. I can't say what city, but he's been doing it for a long time, and he came back to polish his skills at my school. This past March was a standout student, and I can't wait till he retired because he's already been protecting that particular politician for that city for almost, I think, somewhere between 14 and 18 years. So he'll be retiring soon. But nonetheless, once I get him this paperwork that's somewhere in here in his office, he can start working with me because it's the agency he works with is going to approve it. So being that I'm just seeing all of these. There's so much stuff. I'm seeing all of these ICE agents. I see them jumping out on people. Shadow company in the house. That's right, shadow company in the house. I see all of these ICE agents jumping out on people with masks on. A lot of them just have police on their Velcro, like a Velcro on their armor, their bulletproof vest carrier. All right, Justin says 4.5 years to go. So they have just the police or law enforcement on their body armor, and they don't have anything else. It doesn't say what agency. It doesn't have an officer name. None of them have badges on. They just have masks on, and they're running up on people, and it's really putting a lot of fear into the community. It is scaring our Latino community, the people who are U.S. citizens. Some of them have gone to jail. Some of them have been deported immediately. And then we have Alligator Alley down there in South Florida where they're sending people to. So what I said is I've been talking about President Trump, and you guys who are just on here. I don't have a problem with President Trump per se, other than what's going on with the Jeffrey Epstein files. The man came in, he said he was going to take care of immigration, and hands down, he has taken care of it. So you could say that he's doing the things that he promised he would do, except for release the Epstein files. And we want the Epstein files released. We want the Epstein files released. And uh, I think what is his name? I forgot his name. The judge the other day said that Trump's lawyers referring the case petitioned the court to release the Epstein grand jury files. That was nothing but a diversion and a distraction because they knew that there was nothing in the Epstein files about anybody else, including him, and that the information that was pertained in the Epstein grand jury files that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of, and Jeffrey Epstein was indicted on. You hear my dogs? Hey, shut up! That dog out there barking, man. The only thing that was in those files was enough information to indict Jeffrey Epstein and convict Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine, however you want to say it. So that was it. And so the judge said this was a waste of time, it was a waste of taxpayer money, and that it was a diversion or distraction so that they didn't have to release the files. And now what we come to know is that William Barr, whose father was the headmaster of Dalton School in New York City, where Jeffrey Epstein went to work and then got fired for some inappropriate behavior. William Barr became the United States Attorney General under J.W. Bush and Donald Trump in his first term. So he has a loyalty to Donald Trump. But when he got subpoenaed, because see, even the MAGA base is turning against President Trump, and the Democrats in the House were able to get enough MAGA people on their side to force an action to release the files, and the Republicans they said, hey, let's shut down Congress early, and let's take an early vacation, so they didn't have to vote on releasing the files. But nonetheless, those files, when William Barr went to testify, he got called in front of Congress got called for the deposition. That he said in his deposition that the United States Attorney General, which is Pam Bondi, has the authority to release the unsealed grand jury files. That's what William Barr said, and he is one of Trump's people, but he couldn't lie. He couldn't get up there and lie of what he knows to true to be the law. Now they can lie about the facts, or oh, we didn't. We Trump's name wasn't in the files. Oh yeah, it was in the files, but we didn't tell him. And oh yeah, we did tell him. And so he did know about it when he said he didn't know, and Pam Bondi told him in May, no, we know about, we know that your name has been mentioned several times in the file. So he started saying, oh, it's just a whole hoax made up by the Democrats. Listen, this is not even what this topic is supposed to be about, but it's coming full circle to where we are with these ICE raids and how the government is just kind of being ran however they wanted to be run, to be honest. And I got to the Epstein files because I started by saying with the ICE agents that Donald Trump started delivering on the promises that he said he was going to do. He said he was going to hit countries with tariffs. He started wearing them out with tariffs. He said that he was gonna make immigration to zero or whatever, and he did exactly that. He said that he was going to end the war between Ukraine and Russia. That hasn't happened, but he at least had a meeting with Vladimir Putin to kind of start the talks about ending the war. So he's doing some of the things that he said he was going to do, and only thing he didn't do was release the Epstein files, and that's what he campaigned on. Now, so I'm not Republican, I'm not Democratic, I'm not independent. I am a free thinker. I'm an independent free thinker in and of myself. If the Republican Party has the best candidate for the United States, that's who, if I vote, that's who I'm going to vote for. If the Democrats has a better candidate, that's who I'm going to vote for. Not for a popularity contest, but what they could do for the country. Not for me, because I'm my own government. I'm not saying I'm no whatever you call that thing, no solemn nation, or however you say that. I'm not one of those guys. I'm just an independent free thinker. And I know if I don't wake up every morning at 5 a.m., do my exercise, meditate, drink water, and start my day while most people are just switching into their second gear and snoring, that I will not make it in this society. So for me personally, I don't care what president they put in the White House. None of them had done anything for me. And right now, the economy, the society, the crime, and so it goes back to the ICE agents and the federal takeover of the Washington D.C. Police Department. But everything is out of control, and somebody needs to do something to bring it back under control. But where do we go? Where do we go from here? So the ICE raids, do I believe that they're needed? 100%. I'm not sure how many people they arrested. I'm not sure how many people they deported. I'm not sure what these people are involved in. I know that there was a guy who was an illegal. I don't even know. He was a police department, I believe, in Michigan, Maine, or Massachusetts, one of the two. He was a police officer working. He wasn't even didn't have a green card or wasn't a full-fledged United States citizens, but they got him and they fired him and the guy just agreed to be deported. He didn't have to agree because they were going to deport his ass anyway. But nonetheless, so these things are necessary. I do this history just repeats itself. We can't arrest our way out of this. Um, we just can't arrest our way out of it. But more importantly, what I'm concerned about, and I say this because I'm a law enforcement guy, I'm a security guy. When I see people moving around with masks, where I'm from, how I'm built and how I'm wired, I'm ready to start drawing firearms and start handling business. And we're setting a bad precedent. I don't care if they don't show their face. That's one thing. But if they don't show their face, they don't have a badge. They don't have maybe they don't have a name tag. That's cool. Maybe they don't show their face. Maybe they don't have a name tag. But they don't have a badge, and they don't even have a patch or emblem or something that says what agency that they're with. I think that's setting a bad precedence. And we already got these young people or these mobs running into stores with masks and stuff on. You got these people already doing that. Though you in 2020, you got the whole world accustomed to wearing masks. Back when I was a law enforcement officer, it was illegal to wear a mask. If we saw somebody walking down the street with the mask on, that was an arrestable offense. But now everybody and anybody can wear a mask. I see a guy in the summer, it's 100 degrees, he got a mask on, walking down the street. I'm immediately afraid. Not afraid, but on alert. I'll say on alert. And that causes panic in society when you see regular people do it, but then you see law enforcement people do it. And I'm just going to ask you this: how long before criminals say, "Hey, this is a good idea"? Because these guys are not jumping out of marked police cars, they're jumping out of vans, trucks, tent cars with tinted windows. How long before criminals say, "Hey, this is a good fucking idea. This is a good way to rob people. It's a good way to kidnap people. This is a good way to kill people. This is a good way to harm people." Let's just put on a bulletproof vest, some BDUs, and a mask, and go on Amazon and order a patch that says police, because you can easily do it. I'm pretty sure I can pull it up on this phone right here and show you that it can be done. And put on a mask and start jumping out on people, stealing their money, and eventually maybe even something more sinister. So just that's just my chain of thought. I'm looking up right now, police patch, because this is what these guys look like. Police patch for vest. Haha. See, this is Amazon, and I pulled it up. I'm just gonna click on that. This is Amazon. You can order that right on Amazon. You can order that right on Amazon. And that's exactly what you see with every news clip with the thumbnail that was on this YouTube live video. When you saw it, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but it says ICE age, whatever, it's ICE agents, and there's a guy standing there with mask on in this police thing. Nothing else. So what separates them from being a criminal? And here's the thing: they have this is what they well the acting director of HSI Homeland Security says the reason why these guys are wearing masks on and don't have any name tags on is because their families have been getting threatened. Well, how? Just please tell me how, because every video I've seen since this has started, none of them have had a badge, a patch, a name tag on, or anything. I'm just being honest. So how are these people getting threatened? Okay, the fear of these people getting threatened maybe is something even deeper, because I'm thinking a lot of these people that they're targeting down on the border, down in Arizona, down in New Mexico, down in Southern Cal, down in Houston, a lot of these people are cartel people. So maybe the threats are coming because the cartel people aren't just like hoodlum thugs, gangsters. They have a high intel, a group of people in intelligence. They have people who work with the police department, people who work for the military. Knows what those cartel bosses come out. No, those people have those skills. People that have EOD skills, which are explosives. People who have uh, uh, yes, explosive. People who have weapon certifications and special forces in the Mexican military. They go and pay them a lot of money to come over here and be their mercenaries, and then those guys recruit gangsters, and they train those people. So these people they just aren't just like, okay, yeah, just a guy off the corner that they got Jose and gave him a pistol. These guys are sicarios. These guys are real life missionaries. So there is the possible threat that these guys could do investigations on some of these officers and then go and harm them or their families. I mean, that is a possibility, but I don't think that's the case at all. And outside of them seeing your face, if there's no name tag, not unless somebody actually knows who you are, and I think the percentage of that would be very, very small. That how does one know these police officers' names? So okay, so if we go with that, let's let them wear the mask. Let's let them. Let's wear them. Let's let them take off their name tags. No problem. Not a problem at all. Wear the mask. Take off the name tags. However, however, they have to wear something to identify their agency. And what happens is, if one of these officers jump out on a person like you or I or somebody else who's a concealed carry person who gets frightened and goes to stand their ground, because lawfully you're able to stand your ground, especially against a masked person with a gun. You're able to stand your ground, and you even lay down or return gunfire. I would say lay down. Honestly, you're pretty much in the right. You could do that by law because these guys haven't. You Hey, police, police, police. Nice. I don't see a badge. I don't see a patch to say Dallas Police, LAPD, NYPD, MPDC. I don't see none of that. All I see is a guy with a gun with a thing that says police, and he has a mask on, and he's jumping out, and he's coming in my direction. Good luck to you. Good luck to you for somebody who's prepared to live or die by the sword. Because there are a lot of people who U.S. citizens are here who some are ex-military, some are ex-police officers, some of them are just private citizens that go to the range and train all the time. When you hop out on them, it might be the last time you hop out. And if an officer is killed in the line of duty by a citizen, that citizen is well within his or her right to protect himself. And they can't say we identified ourselves as police, because the question would be, well, how did you identify yourself? We said police. Well, did you have any badge? Where was your badge? Oh, we didn't have a badge. Did you have any patch? Oh, we had this patch right here. It says police. Can't they see you? You see that says police? That says police. They should have known that we were the police. My dear friends, Amazon, and you watch plenty of videos on this, and you can get that for $20. And I think it comes with one for the front and one for the back. This is inappropriate by all means, in the leadership of HSI and DOJ and whoever's permitting this ought to be fired. This is my personal opinion. Or they need to listen to the citizens of the United States of America. And my question is, how do we still let the agency carry out their law enforcement actions, but do it the right way? All right, give me a second. I want to go back and look at some of these comments because we had quite a few. All right. Having fugitive recovery agents has the same protocol for a while. No need for shoulder patches, just patches on the front and back, and obviously carry your credentials with you. Fugitive recovery is not a government agency, so that maybe the laws applies for you in a different way. but it doesn't apply for law enforcement like that. So, but for law enforcement, we are required to identify yourself as police. If you go kick in somebody's door, you have to say police, Dallas Police Department, search warrant. And you got to do that, and they got to have at least one marked vehicle there, and they have to have people in uniform with badges, with police what do you call it? Police insignias on, patches on that identifies them, a name tag on. So I don't know, each bounty hunter or Bell's bondsman, all that. A lot of those guys make up their own rules. A lot of them get killed, and a lot of them go to jail too. So I'm just saying, as if you get shot in the line of duty, if a law enforcement officer gets shot in the line of duty trying to stop somebody, do you know that their family they have no recourse? They can't go sue the guy for shooting them. Why? Because they have to identify themselves. They do. They have to identify themselves. There's no you can't even put a jail in you. Technically, they are. They're gonna beat the shit out of them. And then they're gonna put them in jail. But technically, you can't put a person in jail for defending himself against an attack or a person that he didn't know was a police officer. Of course, there's gonna be a court trial. You get a good lawyer. Any good lawyer worth his salt is gonna jump all over that, and they'll take it pro bono. But you can't do that. So, like I said, I see a difference. I do understand. I don't go to McDonald's. I don't go, but when I do go to McDonald's, I will see like all Spanish people in the McDonald's, like the managers, the window, the front. That has never been before. You go in the Taco Bell, and they run everything. Hotels, house, their whole housekeeping section, convention center, they run all of that, banquets and all of that stuff, all the meeting halls, they run all of that. You go drive down the street and see road construction, they run all of that. So, they have the landscaping companies, trash truck companies, mechanic companies, they run all of that. The Hispanic community, and there's nothing wrong with the Hispanic community. Those ones who are here legally, I wish them to stay. They're some of the best people I've ever been around, and some of the hardest working people that I ever know. But if they're not here legally, then the government has to do something about it. But honestly, the black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call yourself, you thought you were a minority. You are now becoming a lesser minority. So it's going to be eventually the way that America is going to look is going to be Hispanic, Caucasian, and then black people. That's how it's going to be. So and I think that the government is seeing that, because if our Latino brothers and sisters begin to infiltrate government, just like in Egypt, where Asians and Muslims infiltrated the Egyptian government, then they will become the ruling class. And once they become the ruling class, this was their land before we even got here. Before I want to say before our European people even got here, because African and black people and Hispanic people were here long, long, long ago. You can see the influence in Chichen Itza down in Mexico. You can see the same sculptures, the hieroglyphics that are in Egypt on Chichen Itza and other monuments throughout the United States. So we've been here for a very, very long time. Um, so I do have some more comments. I'm going to read those comments. So what? So there is. So what's happening is yeah, they're just gonna take their country back, and our counterparts don't want our Hispanics ruling our country. I guess that's what it is. So I mean, it really is. It's like there are pockets of Hispanic Latinos. I have fun. I love Latin women. I love Latin music. I love Latin food. And again, I got some great Latin friends. They know construction, plumbing. Man, listen, these guys can build anything, fix anything. Great people, hardworking. I really love them. But I see where there's a divide, and I see what the HSI, what the Trump administration is doing, trying to expel our Hispanic brothers and sisters out. Understand the ones that have to go, must go. Please continue the enforcement action. But how we are doing this enforcement action is insane. It's going to get somebody hurt. Law enforcement officers will eventually get killed. Um, Private citizens will eventually get killed. We don't. What are we doing? We got a Gestapo society, a draconian society where it's heavy law enforcement. Heavy law enforcement. And we're talking about Union Station, right? President Trump says in his in a news conference yesterday or earlier today is that he's going to go on a ride along. He's actually going to go patrol the streets of Washington D.C. He's going to patrol the streets of Washington D.C. with the D.C. police and the National Guard. Now, let me applaud that. I really do applaud that. One, because he gets to see with his eyes, with his own personal eyes, what is going on in our cities, in our urban cities, and how it's affecting, how crime is affecting the community and affecting law-abiding citizens. But not also just riding through looking for crime, but looking for the systemic reasons why that we have crime, because of the school systems, because of the lack of jobs, and because of where people are displaced. This is a reason. And this thing is long rooted when it comes to black people. We remove black people when we put in the welfare system. Black fathers couldn't be in the house, even if they were a good man. If a woman was going to get WIC and food stamps, and the black man couldn't be in the house. So that black man, no matter how good a father he wasn't in the house to raise his kids. And also in the 70s, 80s, there was heroin pushed into the communities. There was crack cocaine pushed into the communities. A lot of what we're seeing now are the results of those drug addict parents that we had, or that black people had. Mine, fortunately, didn't get addicted to drugs, even though we lived in a very urban, open air drug market where it was crime ridden. Yes, that did happen. And it was easy for me to be influenced in that, but I also saw what it did to the good, upstanding citizens in my community. People who went to church, who had government jobs, who spent time with their family, who walked their dogs and played with their children on the playground. When we had a good community before, I'm just going to be honest with you. Ronald Reagan is the biggest drug dealer ever in the history of the United States. Just look up the Iran-Contra scandal and see how he implicated in that, how he negotiated, drugs for guns, and then gave the drugs to along with the people from the CI, gave the drugs to the black communities, to all kingpin drug dealers who they made and who they could tear down because they made them. They put the drugs into the community, and those people distributed drugs to their own people that look like them, so that we can ride around with big chains and Mercedes Benz and Acura Legends and all of these kind of cars and designer clothes. But we were killing our own community where there were no jobs. The only jobs in the black community were maybe a grocery store, a gas station, a car wash, a barber shop, or a hair salon. And today that still stands for the most part. A lot of black communities now have security companies. So what they do is, like me, they'll hire a security company to protect their billionaires' infrastructure, to protect their merchandise, to protect their real estate. But there are really no opportunities there. A basic security officer job is a minimum wage job. Is a thankless minimum wage job. So these are the jobs that are in the black community. And if the education isn't there and the fathers aren't there, then if we have a recipe for disaster. But again, I want you guys to go back and check out the Iran Contra scandal, where that Ronald Reagan and his administration, Congress, would not approve their war with Iran. So in order to fund the war, that they gave, I believe it was Guatemala, they gave the guns to the guerrillas to fight the war, and in exchange, the guerrillas gave them cocaine, gave the administration cocaine to some of these intelligent agents and operatives. Those operatives then put those drugs into the black community. The black community began to sell those drugs. Many of the young boys were killed or went to jail. Our parents were strung out on the drugs. So we've decimated three generations, because the parents were strung out on the drugs. the young boys that were in the community that were selling the drugs, they eventually died or went to jail. And then the result of those people were the crack babies who then are what we see right now. You know, we're the remnant, though they are the remnants of what we see right now. And first it was heroin, then it was crack cocaine, then it was PCP in a lot of those communities, and everything they put everything in there except jobs and resources for Black people to pretty much thrive or come up in society. So we can't arrest away a crime, but what we can do is think through systemically what kind of resources do we need to put in these communities to help these people not commit crime. And I can say to help them up because apparently they don't want them to be helped up, but we do not want them to commit crime. And once upon a time, it wasn't crime was just okay, let's go fight crime. But now crime is really a problem because cities like DC, cities like Oakland, a lot of these cities are now gentrified with cities where people will have shootouts on the block and sell drugs and prostitution all night long. Now are $2 million homes that the people who once upon a time lived there can't even drive down that street no more. And the people that don't look like them now live in those communities. And those people pay taxes, and those people complain, and those people get results. So this is what's going on. We can't arrest away the problem. So the takeover of the DC Police Department is just short of saying we are instituting martial law. We are instituting martial law. They didn't say it. They said we're just going to take over the police department. And once they took over the police department, they have up to 30 days. 30 days. They have to have a crime emergency. Once they take over the police department, have 30 days to kind of resolve the emergency. And if they don't, uh, they surpass or are approaching the 30 days and they want to keep the law enforcement, the federal takeover of an agency, they then have to go get approval through Congress. Now, as for the National Guard, the National Guard is at Union Station. And like I said before, Union Station, if you all been to DC or live in DC, there's no crime in Union Station. There hasn't been a crime in Union Station all of my life that I remember. And that is in the first police district where I was a lieutenant in that first police district. I never once, the whole time I was in the first police district, I think it was 1996, 97, 98, 99. 99. I think 99 to 2000, 2004. I never seen one crime. We never got one call. If we did get a call, it was like, hey, somebody broke into a car at Union Station. And that was once in the blue moon. Oh, hey, can you come and get the homeless people from loitering and harassing people? That's what you get. But we got 200 soldiers at Union Station. Do you know something that we don't know? You know, or at the Kennedy Center where President Trump just became the chairman of the Kennedy Center. There's never been a crime down there. I don't even think it's been a car accident down there. Why in the hell do we have hundreds of National Guardsmen standing down at near the Kennedy Center? There's no crime blocks from the Kennedy Center. The same thing. If it is a complaint about homeless people or something like that. So even having the National Guard coming into the city, where are they deploying them? What's their mission? And what authorities do they have? These are the questions that we need answered. Let me read a question. Indigo Girl says he even hired two of top Epstein conspiracy theorists the FBI Director Patel and Bongino. Patel, yeah, they were on their podcast talking about the Epstein Files and why the Epstein Files were going to be released or not going to be released, et cetera, et cetera. And there there's a book. A friend of mine bought it. Tony Lee. I don't know if she's watching this, but Tony Lee bought me this book. It was called Team of Rebels. Now, it was about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was one of the smartest leaders to ever live. Abraham Lincoln knew that he had enemies, and instead of keeping a long distance between the enemies, he started bringing them into his cabinet. And this is a playbook that Donald Trump is. He's bringing his enemies into his cabinet because he knew their enemy's strengths. He knew his enemies the motives. Abraham Lincoln, and he by knowing that he had leverage, so he put them in places of power, and he was able to watch them at the same time. But ultimately, they were able to make some good headway. But I honestly believe that the people that Donald Trump has put in place have some loyalty to him. If they have loyalty to him, they don't have loyalty to our country, and I like to say that. Let's see what Bungie said. They don't want the retaliation from exposing our identity. That's true. True. All right. If uniform agents are pulling up on you, they're probably with some agents. But I don't know how you say name, Kaka or whatever your name is. Uniform agents. How do you know they're agents? Probably from some agents. No, that's not necessarily true. You can go get a thing and slap it on there. You can go get it and you can go get a patch that says police or whatever. So it doesn't mean that that they're agents. And you don't have to assume that. That's why they got badges and name tags. It ain't up for me to assume, it's up for them. It's their responsibility and duty to identify themselves fully so they don't get shot as well. I don't know what this dude talk about. Their intelligence is top tier. I ain't gonna say it, so they're not. It says police bro coming from someone from a security law enforcement background. I don't even know, man. Maybe their intelligence, and I ain't trying to assault you. Maybe their intelligence is up there, but I don't think yours is, my brother. If somebody jump out on you, you just assume that they're police, you a new fool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Justin said that President Trump is supposed to be patrolling this evening. I actually like the thought of that. If I stayed on the police department which I mean I retired early. If I stayed on the police department and eventually I would have become the chief, it's without a doubt that I would have been the chief. I would have I would have called my officers off the street at least once a week. I would go to a different police district every week, and I would just go on a ride along with my officers, just me and him, me, chief, whatever car they call in, take me to the worst neighborhood, put me in the car with an officer, and go ride with this officer, so I can say, hey, how you like the police department? How are your supervisors treating you? How's the equipment? Do you have the resources that you need? What do you think about the pay raise? What do you think about the guns we use? What do you think about the community? What do you think about your patrol district? Are you getting enough time off? Does the schedules, work for you? What do you think? Because you're here in this community every day. You're riding around, you know the people. Tell me, what do you think that we need to do to make this community better? And how do I make, as your leader, your chief of police, how do I make your job better? Do you know that these people, if you do something like that, people will come to work for you and not want to go home because they know that they have a leader that supports them in their mission and who cares about them. There's a lot of people who are not like that. They just get the stars, the bars, and the stripe, and they tell you to do what I told you to do because I told you to do it. You see these bars right here? You see that? Are you being insubordinate? Because I send your ass home. Take off your badge and gun. I'll send your ass home. That's the kind of leadership that we don't need. But I think that is a step in the right direction that President Trump is out riding around tomorrow. If it's tomorrow that he's going out to ride around with the law enforcement officers in MPDC, I think that is wonderful. And I hope whoever he gets into the car with, I hope that their life is changed by it. But also, I don't want to be what he's doing to be a distraction. I also don't want him federalizing the police so that once these cases, because it's out in the open now, once these case files come out, the Epstein list, the Epstein files, the what is it, 333 gigabytes, 1 million pages or 100,000 pages of documents. Once this information comes out, I don't want what he's doing and he's moving the pawns on the chessboard so that he's protected, right? He has the National Guard here. I federalize the police. Okay, they actually are releasing this information with my name on it. I'm not going. I'm a king. I'm a king. I'm not leaving. I'm gonna be here in 2028. I'm gonna be here in 2032. I'm gonna be here until I die. That's kind of like what I feel like it is. He wants to be a Putin or a Xi Jinping or Benjamin Netanyahu. He wants to be like that. He wants to be a dictator. That's not going to work in the United States of America. And I believe that these pawns, the federal police, federalizing the Washington D.C. police, putting the National Guard in place, is a way to protect themselves, just in case they say, "Oh hell no, you got to go. You was messing with 12-year-old girls or 14-year-old girls. You was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein. You tried to not deny your friendship, but your name was in the files. You knew your name was in the files." Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, William Barr, all of these people covered up for you, and now you got to go. But he says, "No, I ain't gonna go. Not only do I have a federalized police force, I have an army. Got an army back here, and when y'all tell me I got to go, then you know you're gonna have to. But what is it? You gonna have to pry me out of this joint." Right? So one, then the law enforcement officers on the line because they're doing their job, you know, what they've been told to do. The military people are definitely going to do their job because that's what they're told to do. But at the same time, you guys have to remember law enforcement officers, military officers, you are a American citizens as well. So the same things that you stand for to enforce that you know to be unjust, unfair, unright, and illegal, those same things, you eventually are going to take off that uniform. Or if you don't take off that uniform, your family members are going to be subject to the same things, the same rules, the same laws, the same restrictions, the same illegal searches, the same violation of rights, the same dissolution of the Constitution, the same dissolution of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. We all face the same problem. All, whether you're a police officer, a military veteran, it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. Only people who don't face the same issues are the super wealthy people who run this world and who run this country. And if you look at any news report, it's looked like somebody threw a hand grenade in the Capitol building because there is scattered bodies all over the place. They can't get together. The MAGA base who put Trump in office, and I voted for Trump, and I don't have a problem with saying that because I thought he was the best person for the job at that time. And I thought that the man would go down in history. And by all appearances, he is going to go down in history. But I'm not sure if it's going to go down in history for the right thing. Whoever runs this country, if it's JD Vance next, I don't know too much about him. But if he runs this country, whatever, I hope that they do the right thing by the country for the United States of America and for the citizens. And when you have a leadership, I think when you have leadership that it's really a dictatorship. When you have uh, and so there's two types of leaderships, right? There's autocratic and there's democratic, right? So and not democratic in far as a political sense, right? So democratic is I say democracy. Hey, let me bring everybody in and see what y'all think. All right, this is all right. Let's think, and we're gonna make a group decision. We're gonna figure out what the problems are. We're gonna make group decisions, right? And that's like a democratic leader, right? Then you had an autocratic leader. Say, hey, get your ass over here. This is what needs to be done. I don't want now. I don't. Did I ask you for your input? I didn't ask you for your input at all. Get over there and get it done, or you're going to be fired, or you're going to be replaced. Does that sound like anybody that you know? Anybody that's in the government right now? Anybody doing that kind of leadership? Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. And the more that we let them go, the more that we let them do, the more that they will do. And it's going to affect all of us. Let me read some more questions. Repair and support said they just reported. Hey, okay, whatever. Well, you don't have to repair and support if you still on here. Why are you even on here watching my damn channel? Period. Simply if I don't like something, this is real simple, right? You scroll on something and say, "Oh, I wonder what this is about," and you listen and you watch it. I don't like that. I just scroll off. Why the hell would you stay on here and listen to it if you didn't like what I was saying? You flipping weirdo. Somebody said Trump is winning. How about a shout out to the working girl? Ray, where'd you live at? Ray said I took a drive through my old hood and seen this house and said, "Damn, things are changing." And some can't see. Yeah, better than selling all these thugs with guns and taking your car, whatever that means. What are toilet crumbs? I should be a moderator for the stream. Well, you want me to make you a moderator? That would bring up the morale. Yeah, Justin, that would bring up the morale on the department. I totally agree. All right. I got some great gummies. All right, some of these things are bots, better than the scatterbrain he ran against. A lot of this stuff is bots, man. So you can get into, I don't even really get into no debate and going back and forth with people who aren't even people. They put bots, the bots listen for certain things. And if you're saying something, they just take it and run with it and they get you into some kind of debate with them, trying to make you look bad. But honestly, I haven't said nothing but facts here. If I said anything wrong, feel free. Feel free to correct me on what I said wrong. But what I'm looking for now is just a society who stands up for themselves, stands up for each other, and stop supporting people who don't support you. The people who are winning, the people who have the best lives here, are one, even the people who don't care, the people who detach themselves from TV, cell phones, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, all of that stuff. Those are the people who are winning. I've stopped watching the news in 2016 because back in 2016 when Trump ran for the presidency, the first one, I couldn't stand the dude, right? I couldn't stand the dude, and I said I can't watch this bullshit. And I saw a lot of divisiveness in the country, and all of that good stuff. So I just stopped watching the news altogether. And then when you watch the news, the first thing you wake up in the morning, most people do is turn on the news, right? And why you turn on the news, but you don't hear anything good. You hear, okay, last night 4 were shot in a park in Chicago. One was a 3-year-old girl, and her father, as the mother watched from the playground. And then a stabbing at the convenience store, and 4 people robbed on Park Street, and there was an explosion, and then Iran and this person is fighting, and Ukraine and this person is fighting, and Israel and Palestine are fighting, and then you see blood, gore, catastrophe, pain, suffering. All that's how you start your morning. That's how you start your morning. And then they have one feel good story. Hey, and by the way, this is Brianna. Brianna won the spelling bee in her school, and she outranked 200 students in the spelling bee competition. And they show Brianna with her family, and they giving her flowers and shit like that. But the truth of the matter is, that's probably the only feel good story you get all day. The only feel good story. So at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever time you wake up, you turn on the TV. That's how you start your day. And they say this is the law of attraction. What you think about, what you see, what you take in, it's also what you will become and put out. Um, yeah. So that so I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching the news. First thing I had to get up to do is let me just don't pick up your phone. Don't see what who like your cat picture or your dog picture or whatever you post on Instagram. Yourself posing with your client in the nightclub, or the person that you walk to the VIP to the car, and you talk about, hey, this is my client, so all of this big stuff, or posing with your purse or your drinks or your steak dinner or none of that stuff. Don't pick up your phone and see who like that. Don't do that. Don't pick up your phone to see how somebody else is living better than you or appears to be living better than you. Don't pick up your phone because the same stuff you see on TV, you see on your phone, but it's even worse because the people who capture this stuff on the phone have no filter. They don't have a producer or somebody like that that says don't post this, don't post that. But what you see on your phone is raw and unfiltered. A whole lot of people who love themselves, a lot of people who are consumers, who, and I always say people who are consumers will eventually be consumed. You see people shaking their ass and showing their cleavage, and then yelling that aren't any good men on out here. You see, I mean, you see fights, you see store robberies, you see stabbings, you see shootings, and then you open up your email, and whatever you had on your agenda for today, whatever your schedule is, what you had on, once you open your email, whatever you had on your agenda for today or that day is gone, because somebody sent you an email and you're now trying to respond to their email and do what they need you to do. And just think about this: when you received that email the night before, you were a person on their agenda. Let me email Melvin and ask him something, 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 or ask him for this contract, or ask him to do this, or ask him to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So now when you open the email, it's like, oh shit, Scott sent this. And now you are off to an unstructured day, and you're chasing every rabbit, and every rabbit that runs out of the hole. And so, so one, don't turn on the TV. Don't watch this damn news stuff, because it gets you worried. And in between the death reports and the little kids that got shot accidentally by a stray bullet on a playground, and all of the crime and all of the race baiting and all of the party, uh, partisan party trying to separate and divide, all of that stuff. Between all of that stuff, you have seen nothing good, not one thing good, and that's how you start your day. I just say, ladies and gentlemen, don't start your day like that. Put your phone down. Go pray if you're religious. If you're I'm not religious, but go pray if you're religious. Go meditate. Go speak to the creator, whatever your creator is, Allah, Jesus, Jehovah, the creator. Some people say the creator of the universe. I'm one of those people. I got crystals and rocks and stones and stuff. I meditate. I look. I would say I studied. I know about the Ephah religion, and it kind of resonates to me, but I'm not religious at all. No man could know God. All of the stories that people tell, nobody ever saw him. So all of it is conjecture for the most part. You don't know if it was made up. You don't know if it was true. But then we get to defending those positions as well. All of that stuff, just throw it out the window. Wake up, meditate, pray, find something positive, read a book, read a scripture, read a self improvement book, go exercise, drink water, walk, breathe some fresh air, kind of, settle down. And if you then decide to pick up your phone, make sure that you have a plan for your phone and that you're not doom scrolling the whole day, because that'll put you hours and hours behind. One video leads to the next, to the next, to the next. So, and I love you guys to watch my YouTube content, but even me, if you're watching me, I hope that you love my content. I appreciate you all for coming back. I thank you for watching my content, making comments. I thank you for subscribing to my channel, sharing my content, liking it. It means the world to me. And matter of fact, if you're on here, if you never heard me before, I have some very interesting stuff. And my channel is about to really, really take off in the next couple of months. I have some episodes for my podcast that I'm working on that are groundbreaking. It's going to show you how protectors like myself, executive protection people like myself, people who work in the bodyguard industry, the security industry, how we protect our principals or protectees, those clients that we have. Also, it's going to show you how wealthy people protect themselves, what they do to protect themselves, and how much they pay to protect themselves. So I'm going to be visiting a whole lot of wealthy people. I'm going to be it's going to be some amazing stuff. I'm just going to say that. I'm so excited that I want to talk about it, but I can't. So I got some more questions here. We got like a minute left. I'm going to answer some of these questions as best I can. And then I'm going to jump off. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. Listen, they said that President Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize, but they said, what did he do? They talk about all the people that he declared war on and killed, including Muammar Gaddafi, and so they they talked about that. But Donald Trump is the only person that, honestly, he's going to have to get the Nobel Peace Prize. He's trying to negotiate peace between Netanyahu and Zelensky, Palestine, Israel and Palestine. He's also trying to institute peace or get a ceasefire going between Ukraine and Russia. So he's actually doing some good things. But I don't want to be distracted by this Jeffrey Epstein stuff. And I hope that these files come out and that the man is clean and clear and he actually didn't do anything. I hope that is the case. But if it ain't, I want his ass to be buried under the jail. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. That's just how. That's just the realest of the real. Um. So here it is. I ask you guys. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for the likes. If you haven't liked and you appreciate the things that I've been saying, do me a favor. Give me a couple of thumbs up. Leave a comment if you can. Leave a comment on this video once it finishes. Leave your thoughts on here. Whatever. If you didn't get to say something, but leave your thoughts on here. Let me know if you liked the video or not. Also, if you want, subscribe to my channel and become a member, because eventually the members are going to have some really great benefits that the other people aren't going to be able to see. I have some content that I'm releasing in a couple of days, but it's only going to go out to the members. It's going to be members only, and you guys are going to miss that, because everything that I do is well, everything that I do is definitely worth watching. I can say that. So if you guys aren't a member, become a member. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And then in the meantime, flip through my content and tell me if you don't like it. Just let me know. Go through there. I got videos of assassinations attempt, attacks on principals, and principal is our clients that bodyguards have. I have videos of that. I have all kind of stuff on my channel that I'm sure that you can enjoy and learn from. All right, guys, it's 11:41. I started late. I'm ending late. It's time for me to go to bed. I appreciate you watching. If you want to join my channel, join it. If you want to follow me on Instagram, all of that stuff is in the header of my YouTube page. My email is on there. My Patreon is on there. What else is on there? My Discord, if you're in security, join the Discord. We're building that Discord right now. There's some information in there, but as time goes on, I'm looking for moderators, people, be creative, share information, share jobs, share resources. Jump on that Discord. And if you're interested in becoming an executive protection agent or bodyguard, check out my website, because that's in the header of my YouTube page too. We have a class in October of 2023 in Washington, D.C., and we have one in 2025, October 23rd through 26th in Washington, D.C., and then a class in Miami the first week of December. So join. Thank you, Bungie. So make sure you come and join the class. Are you saying you're for illegal? Yeah, I'm saying I'm for legal aliens. Get your dumb ass off my channel. Um, um, so yeah, the executive protection class. DC October 23rd through the 26th, and then Miami in the first week of December. I'm not certain on the dates. I think it's like the 6th through the 10th or something like that. So check that out. Right now, those classes are 50% off if you register before August 25th. So you only have 4 more days to register. After that, those classes are 2,600. It was 50% off of 2,600. The classes effective in December, those classes will go up to $5,200 per class. $5,200 per class, and they're not coming down. We're the most fastest growing executive protection school in the world, one of the most popular executive protection schools in the world, and we're just getting better with each class. All right, guys. Thanks so much, Justin. Thanks for joining. My Cadillac is still down, man. It was supposed to be done yesterday. I've been calling the Cadillac dealership. They haven't said anything. They haven't called me back. So I was expecting to be there last week. I was expecting to be there this week, and I'm still waiting. So I'm gonna call the dealer again tomorrow. If they call, I hope. If they call me back or answer, hopefully I'll be there tomorrow to pick up my truck. And little baby, thank you for continuing to watch. I appreciate you being a fan. Um, that's all I can say, guys. Thanks so much, Bungie. Thank you for being truly my right hand. I couldn't do this without you. And I will see you soon. I'm still waiting for that call from the Carlisle, but I haven't heard anything yet. People are being weird these days. All right, crackhead, little baby. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.